up.
This is not a time for anybody not to be involved in the political process.
Carolina Week sits down with presidential candidate Bernie Sanders to talk about issues affecting college students.
An attempted break-in at a sorority house has students and neighbors worried about their safety.
Didn't get tickets for Carolina football? You're not alone. We'll find out more about the ticket system that's left many students frustrated.
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
The head of the UNC Board of Governors resigns. Good afternoon, I'm Adam Jordan.
And I'm Julie Kuhn. The news came as a surprise to the campus community. Chairman Harry Smith said he's decided he no longer wants to lead the Board of Governors. Reporter Caroline Boyer joins us live from South Building with the latest. Caroline?
Julie, Chairman Smith made this announcement less than 24 hours ago. He says he's exhausted. The politics of this job and the conflict over Silent Sam have worn him down. Smith was appointed to the 24-member Board of Governors in 2013, and he was elected chairman last year. His 4-year term ends in 2021, but Smith says he will step down on October 1st. Although Smith will no longer chair the BOG, he'll remain as a regular board member. Reporting live in Chapel Hill, Caroline Boyer, Carolina Week.
Chapel Hill police are investigating a suspicious person who tried to enter a sorority house early Monday morning. It happened at the Zeta Tau Alpha House on North Street. Some residents say a man tried to enter through all of the doors of the house before finally giving up. Police describe the suspect as a light-skinned male with ponytail and a goatee. He also has a tattoo on his left arm. The incident comes just weeks after sexual assault cases near campus. Some say that more needs to be done to keep students safe.
The stuff with this sexual assault isn't talked about. The university's not really talking about it, so I don't feel very informed about it. So I don't know the best practices and the best ways to avoid it or keep myself safe or even my housemates safe.
The university is giving people the chance to share their concerns about campus safety. The UNC Campus Safety Commission is holding open listening sessions on September 25th, October 1st, and October 7th. If you can't attend a session, you can also share your comments on the Campus Safety Commission's website.
With presidential campaigning heating up, many candidates are trying to gain support from college students.
And UNC is a popular stop for some of the Democratic frontrunners. We had Beto O'Rourke visited the campus in the spring, and on Thursday, thousands of students turned out for Bernie Sanders' rally. Reporter Peyton Tysinger was also there and also got a chance to sit down for a one-on-one interview with Sanders. He joins us now live from Polk Place. Peyton?
The crowd cheered as Bernie Sanders laid out his plans to combat climate change, ensure health care, raise the minimum wage, and restore DACA. But the loudest applause came when he talked about free higher education.
My friends, when we are in the White House, every public college and university in America will be tuition free.
It's similar to what other presidential candidates are promising. In a one-on-one interview with Carolina Week, we asked him what makes his promise different.
When I was here 4 years ago talking about it, nobody was talking about it. But you know what's happened since? In 12 states in this country, there is a strong movement toward making public colleges and universities tuition free. But the other difference is that what I believe is that we should cancel all student debt in this country, simply. If we could bail out the crooks on Wall Street, if Trump and his friends can give over $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1% and large profitable corporations, we can cancel all student debts.
The rally hit on national political issues, but failed to hit on certain topics that hit closer to home for many Carolina students.
UNC over the past few years has seen white supremacists on our campus open carrying. This is a national theme. How would voting for you and your policies help change this racial climate?
Well, we will make a very high priority of ending white supremacy in this country, attacking racism in all of its ugly forms in every aspect of our lives. What this campaign and what my administration is about is bringing people together around an agenda that works for all of us and not just the people on top.
Although Sanders says he is concerned about white supremacy and free higher education, there is something he wants people to know above all else.
For any of the students or any of our viewers that are watching this, what's one thing that you want them to know as young people and as North Carolinians?
I want them to know that we are living in an unprecedented moment in American history and in world history. And this is not a time for anybody not to be involved in the political process. We're fighting for the future of democracy in America. We're fighting for the future of the planet.
Now, Bernie Sanders isn't the first presidential candidate to make a visit here on campus. Beto O'Rourke was on campus back in August, as you may remember. There is no word on whether or not other candidates will be stopping here on campus, but of course, we will keep our eyes peeled. Reporting live in Chapel Hill, I'm Peyton Tysinger, Carolina Week.
The Duke-UNC Middle East Studies program is defending its curriculum after the U.S. Department of Education threatened to withhold federal funding. The government says the program puts too much emphasis on the positive aspects of Islam and not enough emphasis on Christianity and Judaism. The Middle East Studies program has established an advisory board to review the curriculum. The university celebrated the First Amendment on Tuesday with its 11th annual First Amendment Day. The campus-wide celebrations featured events like the banned book reading outside of Davis Library. Librarians and faculty read excerpts of books that have been banned from schools and public libraries. First Amendment Day is meant to remind the community to exercise their rights.
Everyone's opinion is valid. Whether or not we agree with it, everyone has the right to say what they want to say, and it's so important that we protect that and allow that through our collections and through the materials that we offer.
First Amendment Day is organized by the UNC Center for Media Law and Policy.
Some UNC students expressed their commitment to the environment by walking out of class. Students marched through campus and gathered on Franklin Street Friday to demand action against global climate change. It was part of a worldwide climate strike that millions of young people participated in. Protesters want politicians to take climate change more seriously.
We just want our voice to be heard, because the idea is these policies will be affecting us hugely and we don't have a voice.
The worldwide climate change protest was the largest youth-led demonstration in history.
Now to a story that hits close to home for so many here on campus. UNC students have lost one of their own. Reporter Elizabeth Holmes joins us live with more. Elizabeth?
Jilly, Wynn Burris was a student, a Moorhead Kane Scholar, and a philanthropist. But to those who knew her, she was so much more.
Songs and candlelight filled the quad Friday night as students gathered to honor the life and legacy of a fellow Tar Heel. 21-year-old business major and Moorhead Kane Scholar Wynn Burris died at UNC Hospital last week after complications from a sinus infection. Close friend and recent UNC graduate Caroline Bass met Burris during her sorority rush.
She was just so warm and effervescent that she approached me and said, "Hey Caroline, how are you? I'm so glad you're in my rush group. How was your summer?" Talking a mile a minute, just so excited to formally be friends. She treated me like she'd known me my entire life.
Bass says Burris was as deeply invested in others as she was her studies, even before coming to Carolina.
More than kind of her resume skills, she just had a heart for others, and that shined through in everything that she did. Before coming to Carolina and getting super involved, she was really active in supporting special needs kids and being a part of special needs dances to give them an outlet to be together and have fun.
Burris also founded an organization called Hope for Hope, where students from Hope Charter Leadership Academy could receive letters from a college pen pal. Wynn's sorority Kappa Delta coined the term Live Like Wynn, Love Like Wynn in her memory to remind students to embody the kindness that Wynn showed.
I think that the best way that we can honor her is to try our best to embody the traits that we loved in her so much.
Burris interned in Washington, D.C. and New York City. She also studied abroad at the Vienna University of Economics and Business. She planned to work in finance after her graduation in May. Jilly?
It's been very difficult for all those who knew Wynn. Friends and family have rallied around her life, fiercely celebrating her memory, which has been described as one of servitude, grace, and brilliance. Her loved ones urge us all to be more like Wynn.
I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors. What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter, male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers, we have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Getting tickets to Carolina football has been a struggle for many students this season.
That's right, there's a lot of unhappy students out there. Reporter Natasha Lagur found out more about this year's ticket process.
The Carolina team is getting so much attention now that Mack Brown is head coach. Tickets are in such high demand that some of the students may break the rule just to get one.
To get into the game, all students need to have a ticket, but many say trying to get one isn't easy. Others believe it's the right way to do things.
Was much more student friendly and allowed more students to get access to the games, and the people that were going to show up were able to take advantage of their benefit of being able to go to games.
When I tried, I waited at 20 minutes until the system told me that all student ticket has been claimed. I was not randomly selected to get a ticket, but students are finding other ways to get football tickets since the ticket system does not guarantee you a ticket. Social media has become a marketplace. Some are putting a price on the tickets they got for free, which is a violation of UNC's Code of Conduct. The Office of Student Conduct mentioned that those who get caught selling tickets will be banned from getting football and basketball tickets, but some students say they are not concerned about the Code of Conduct.
Academic honor, not allowed, and I agree with that. But if there was no precedent regulation in place, I don't see an issue with it.
The athletic department says it would like to be able to give tickets to every student who wants one, but it's just not possible. It says, "We changed the system to have a head count on how many students will come to the game, and the amount of students coming in was becoming difficult for staff to keep up with. There is an amount of seats, and the stadium should not be overpacked due to safety concerns."
If you did not get a ticket, there is a standby line where you can wait in case a seat opens up. In Chapel Hill, I'm Natasha Lagur, Carolina Week.
Sold out, but it's not the only home game left. Students still have the chance to see the Heels play Duke, Virginia, and Mercer.
For those lucky enough to get the Clemson tickets, let's hope they can enjoy some good weather. Let's go to meteorologist Cruz Medina for our forecast.
Well, good afternoon to everyone tuning in right now to our 12 o'clock newscast. We're seeing that temperature of 81 outside, so it's very warm to be outside. It's actually unseasonably warm for this time of year, and we're actually not going to see those 80 and 90 degree temperatures go anywhere anytime soon. As you can see on NOAA's 6 to 10 day outlook, we have this big dome of high pressure that has built itself over the eastern half of the United States, and that's not going to let up anytime soon, and it's also not going to allow for us to get any rain or even a cool down from these hot temperatures that we've been seeing. So for now, we'll have to enjoy the extended summer-like temperatures that we will be experiencing. As you're walking across campus today, by 2 p.m. we'll see that temperature of 83, by 4 p.m. 87. So it's going to be a very hot afternoon to be walking around on campus, but at least we won't have to deal with those temperatures as we head through the overnight hours. We'll be having that temperature of 65 for a low tonight. It'll be a nice evening to get out, maybe enjoy enjoy dinner outside this evening. And as we zoom out and look at our 5-day forecast, you can see we have upper 80s to lower 90s all across the board. So those aren't going to give us a break from these summer-like temperatures. But for now, we'll just have to await the arrival of the cooler weather, and we'll just see how long it takes for fall-like weather to get here.
Thanks, Cruz. Now let's take a look at an issue that has lots of students talking.
Blake Morgan has more in our weekly blender.
When the university announced its new weeknight parking, students were furious. UNC added $6 to student fees whether or not the students planned to park on campus or even had a car. Now, if students wish to park on campus, they have to register their make, model, and plate to not be ticketed. As you can see on screen, UNC Parking has a map on their website of the designated lots you can park in, but you have to be careful. I talked to many students that have received tickets anywhere from $15 to $50 for parking in the wrong lots or parking in lots that were reserved for the evening but were okay to park in normally. Be careful of where you can and cannot park. The main thing to be aware of is most lots have a designation at the entry on whether students can park. It'll say weeknight parking 5 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. But if you are ticketed, students have 10 days from the ticket to appeal online. Typically the safest spots to park are parking decks like Cobb or Bell Tower. Essentially, if you can go through an up gate, you'll be just fine. Just avoid service permit spots, and you should avoid the fines. That's your weekly blender.
It's Trubisky time. The former UNC QB was in the national spotlight Monday night and did not disappoint. Sports is coming up next.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Back to Sports Block, I'm Charity Cohen, and we have to roll out the welcome mat for one former Tar Heel in particular. Chicago Bears quarterback Mitch Trubisky torched the Washington Redskins on Monday night. The Pro Bowl QB had no problem finding his receivers throughout the night on his way to 231 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, including this beautiful 36-yard dime to close the first half. He completed a whopping 80% of his passes and posted a phenomenal 116.5 passer rating. Monday night was a big turnaround for Trubisky, who struggled in the first few games this season. He was able to throw his first touchdowns. He also posted his highest yardage total this season and while throwing for over 60%. No games here at the Hill this past week, but the Hills have a packed schedule starting tomorrow. Let's take a look. On the top of the big football game against number 1 Clemson on Saturday. Tomorrow, women's soccer takes on NC State at 7 p.m. Then on Friday, the men's soccer team goes head-to-head with the Dukies. Be sure to get there early to grab a priority seating band for the late night with Roy. And last but not least, field hockey travels to UVA to play the 5th-ranked Cavaliers. The Hills have cruised to a 7-0 start, setting a new program record of 30 consecutive wins in the process, but they'll be challenged by the Cavaliers. With no losses on their home turf, the Cavaliers have plenty of reason to celebrate. The team's attack starts with junior Michaela Gallen, who leads UVA with 5 goals and 10 points. UNC will have to watch out for moves like this from the star forward. Cavaliers junior midfielder Rachel Robinson, second on the team in goals, will also be a threat on Friday. She is finding the back of the net against UMass Lowell. But the Tar Heels have plenty of firepower on their own. Sophomore forward Aaron Matson leads the group with 10 goals. Matson isn't alone, though. Redshirt senior Catherine Hayden has 6 goals on the season. While this contest could go either way, one thing's for sure. The Tar Heels will have their work cut out for them if they hope to keep making history. That's all from sports. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Food insecurity is an issue that affects families all over the country.
Reporter Shondell Moniz spoke with some locals who hope they found a solution.
So you've probably heard of it before, the mini libraries where you can come in, you can take a book. But what you probably haven't heard of is what a local High Point resident likes to call the Little Free Peace Pantry. It's exactly what it sounds like. You can take whatever food items you need, or you can also leave food items. But where did this idea come from? I sat down with her to find out.
Everyone needs a dessert.
The USDA has labeled North Carolina as the 10th hungriest state in the nation. High Point resident Heidi Miner wants to change this statistic.
It's not that that people aren't not working, or their parents aren't working, or people are just ganging the system or whatever. It's just that the money is not stretching out for the week.
This stretch is also known as food insecurity, which the USDA defines as the lack of access to enough food for all household members. Unlike traditional food pantries, little food pantries are anonymous and open 24/7. It all sounded almost too good to be true, so Miner decided to show me for herself. A 2-minute drive later and we've arrived. Here it is, the Little Free Peace Pantry. Other pantries just like this one are popping up all over the state, and all types of people are joining the movement.
Actually, I'd like to get a...
Luke Tingler is only 13 years old and has started his own pantry in Spring Hope, North Carolina.
I don't want people to go hungry. I want people to be able to come to the pantry and get the food that they need.
Now, if you want to start a food pantry but are nervous about the expenses, Miner says there's nothing to worry about.
If you've only got $5, $5 goes a long way. Or if you only got a jar of peanut butter and some crackers, that's great. Put that in there.
The goal is to remove food insecurity, one pantry at a time. In High Point, Shondell Moniz, Carolina Week.
There are 28 food pantries in North Carolina and more than 700 across the country.
That's such a really great story, and I love to see such a creative and unique solution right here in our local community for such a big problem.
Yeah, and I've actually seen a couple around, so I know exactly what she's talking about. It's such a great story.
Well, it's great to see. And that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.